Hello everyone, MFPallytime here. Welcome back to Heroes of the Storm as I close Windows on my other monitor to make sure there's not an echo. I'm pretty sure there's not an echo. Welcome back to the private test realm. So I was planning on doing this stream 6 hours ago. Because normally the PTR comes up about 1 Eastern. And it didn't. So I've been just kind of sitting around, waiting for it to happen. The servers just came up. We now have access to Lucio. I'm gonna say for the record that the PTR build seems a little buggy. Not only was it delayed for a really long time, or at least it seems like, I'm pretty sure they usually come out around 1, but like, you can't, the search function doesn't work up here. So, you know, it might be an interesting test phase. But Lucio was just added to the game. So we are going to go into try mode. We are going to take a look at this hero. We're going to try to figure out what we think. Now, I know I don't look that great right now. I am going to turn this webcam off, and we're going to focus on the gameplay. But if you are not here for a long, drawn-out, boring first look at the new character currently added to the Nexus, then you are in the wrong place. This is going to be boring. It's going to be about 45 minutes of looking at abilities. And for the record, have not played him yet because there was such a huge delay on the PTR today. I've just kind of been sitting here in the dark. Pretty good, actually. Pretty good Monday. If you want to see some gameplay, we are going to be playing him on the Squadron channel tomorrow. And if you're watching this retroactively, which means when it's not live, I'll have a link in the video description for that. Okay, let's look at his skins real quick, too, before we start. I don't understand. And that he has that in the other video game. Alright, boys, here we go. Get comfy. Your green screen colors are off? Yeah, because I don't have any more lights on. There's just the one light on, which is why we turned it off. Isn't that better? Hope you guys like Lucio music because it's the only thing you're going to be hearing. I guess not really. Alright, what are his basic abilities? Sound Wave deals 116 damage at level 1, and enemies in the area are going to be knocked back. We can augment this later on for some blinds and a little bit of utility. But, essentially, it has a pretty fucking short range, so you have to walk up to your enemies. If you get ahead of them, which isn't that hard to do, as Lucio, you can knock them back towards your team if you were feeling very brave. His starting HP is not that bad at all. Looks like he's a little squishier than Malfurion. But mobility is the name of the game here, as you might imagine, with a character who rebelled against the government by wearing skates and listening to music. So Soundwave, that's our first ability. When knock, can I tell him to not attack? I don't want him to attack. Stop it. All right, the S command does not work. The hold command does work. Beautiful. Then our W ability is Crossfade, currently playing Speed Boost. You can tell it's Speed Boost because of the green aura around our character. Which is going to be increasing my movement speed, and any ally in the circle, it's going to be increasing their movement speed by 15%. Our movement speed right now is 115. I think mount speed is 130, so, I mean, it's a sizable increase, but it's not like we're flying across the screen or anything like that. But it does mean that you're going to be moving faster than most other characters in the game. So, again, getting behind someone and pushing them back with the Q shouldn't be that hard to do. If we hit W, if we activate Crossfade, you'll notice that this aura changes. Woo! Also, there's some UI elements over here that are actually pretty interesting, but more on that in just a second. Now we are healing our allies for a whopping 26 health per second, which looks like a bunch of this. You can see the healing per second is 26, and that's what the tooltip says as well. Look at that. Continuity, boys! Yeah! If we amp up this effect, we are going to increase this from 26 healing per second to 143. So if you want to see that, that looks like this. Amp It Up has a 15-second cooldown in Heroes of the Storm, and it is going to effectively boost the aura that you are currently running. So we have our first Bard introduced to the video game, which I'm pretty excited about. And the speed boost takes you from 115 to 145 if you boost it up for those few moments, which means you are going to be running faster than mount speed for that little bit of time. Now, his trait allows him to wall run, just like in Overwatch, although it does seem a little clunky. Like, where you think you need to put your mouse isn't always where you need to put your mouse. It seems like you have to put it directly on the wall in some cases. Otherwise, it'll freak out and try to path you through, kind of like right there. I don't know if you saw that. If I click right here, for instance, it doesn't really know what to do with that. And it's trying to bring me into the bush here. But that's probably a wall positioning problem and not a Lucio problem. This is not a well-optimized map, of course, because it's not competitive, but you can see he gets stuck in places like this. And again, I think it's because of this particular area right here. Not necessarily a Lucio issue, but it is something that I did notice in my brief time testing him out. So, ETC is a bard, he plays the guitar. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I think ETC is more of a rock star, you know? He's like epic. ETC is metal as fuck. And then we have Lucio, who rebelled against the government with roller skates and plays music. I would classify Lucio as a bard and ETC as a hero. But that's just me. Now, along with this wall ride effect, we do not have a mount, so there's no Z. This is what we do. This is how fast we run. Some more UI elements I want to bring your attention to other than this circle around our character. We can see down here at the bottom left that we are in our movement speed phase. If we swap it over with W, you can see we're in our healing phase, and it also gives you an indicator for how many people you are healing at the current time down at the bottom left too. Which doesn't... Okay, I guess it does work. Never mind. So when Malfurion is in range, we can see that with the indicator. We can also see that with the thing on the ground. But this will be different for each character's individual hitbox. So this is actually useful because you can see Malfurion just a little bit out of range here based on his feet in the hitbox, but you can see he is in range of the heal. So that is useful. And then this is your current movement speed. While you're wall running, you're going to be moving faster than if you were on the ground. This is a 120% movement speed increase, slightly slower than mounts. And that's going to be indicated on the left. And then if you're running around with the speed song and you amp it up. Am I doing healing? No. I thought it would show that as well. I guess it's only wall ride. I misinterpreted it earlier. All right, his heroic abilities are pretty similar to what he had in Overwatch. The first one is very iconic, and it wouldn't be Lucio without it. We have the Bro Shield, we have Sound Barrier, and simply he is going to shield everyone inside of his healing radius. I really like the cohesiveness of knowing exactly where all of your abilities are going to land other than your Q. Everything you need to have happen is in this circle. If someone leaves this circle, that's their fucking fault. You know, that means they're doing something wrong. You have your circle and you are the master of your domain. You are the kingdom. Anything the light touches is yours, Simba. But anyway, it's shield with a big initial hit that will decay over time, just like in Overwatch. At level 10, you are going to be shielding for 2,062. Damn! It is going to decay over 6 seconds, and that is only a 70-second cooldown. That's a big deal. That's a lot of shielding. Also keep in mind that while the sound barrier is up, you can switch over to healing stance and amp that up as well. So not only do you have the Bro Shield healing everybody up, but you're also, or the Bro Shield mitigating damage, but you're also going to be healing everyone up for a pretty sizable amount with your basic abilities, if you time it about right. Someone asked in chat, if you are wall running and you amp it up, are you faster than a mount? And the answer is yes. Also, I think I picked a talent that made me even faster, so let's go ahead and reset talents here. But yeah, you will go faster than mount speed. But good question. That's 135. Oh, okay. So yeah, it stacks with your movement speed. You don't even have to amp it up. Just with the speed boost, you go faster. And then if you amp it up, you can actually move at 165, which is hella fast, by the way. His other heroic ability, this one was made up for Heroes of the Storm. This is called Reverse Amp. Blast Lucio's crossfade track at enemy heroes for 4 seconds, causing healing boost to inflict 297 damage per second and speed boost to slow by 45%. So it's essentially 2 abilities in one, and just like everything else that Lucio has, it works inside your circle of influence. You are Simba. Anything the light touches is your kingdom. So if you use this ability, it's going to just deal damage or slow. Oh, it's only heroes. Is that right? Yeah, it's only heroes. So let's go ahead and toggle off that cooldown. We already did. He's just going to die, I'm assuming. You can see we're dealing 19 damage a tick. That's 309 damage per second. I don't know why they wanted to like pop up all these little numbers of damage that are less meaningful. I guess his gun makes a little bit more sense, but with his like heroic ability, I feel as though they could have just added a lot more like meaningful impact, I guess, some oomph. If you just turn this on and it just deals damage, you know, I feel like the 19 a tick doesn't really indicate much. Now this doesn't last very long. This doesn't last very long at all, but it does have very nice synergy with your other abilities. So if you are healing, you're going to do the inverse. You're going to deal damage over time to everyone. If you are running fast, you're going to slow the enemy team by a massive amount, and you can still amp it up and move around them and control the battlefield quite well. So it's basically an earthquake that's going to be moving with you while you're also giving your team half of the bloodlust effect from Rhaegar and pushing everyone forward into battle. I could see that being incredibly good. Keep in mind, this is a 7-second cooldown on the Q, and that knockback is not actually representative of what he can be doing in the game. Yeah, I forgot to turn it off. And it was kind of fun just pushing Arthas around. So those are 2 abilities. They both seem good. I think that in most cases, the sound barrier is just going to be better because you're going to keep everyone alive. But it is worth noting that Reverse Amp only has a 50-second cooldown as opposed to a 70-second cooldown. But again, I actually like them both a lot. I like them both a lot. You want to see the dance? Okay. Same as Overwatch. So as far as talents go, he has some very focused tiers like some other characters where you're going to be going for level 1. It's all mobility based. Everything here is mobility based. Everything at level 4 is Q based, and you'll kind of notice these themes as you move forward. Some talent tiers are extremely focused, which in theory allows you to open the character up a little bit more to player preference. But of course, as we know, in most cases, especially at the release of a hero, one of these talents is just going to be better than the other, and it's going to kind of force you into a playstyle. In most cases, that happens until the numbers kind of get tweaked. So what we have is Move Together. Increases the base movement speed of crossfade boost to 20%. That is going to be increasing it by 5%. So if we pick up that talent, we're going to move from this to this. Is it a bonus? Yeah. Is it a team-wide bonus? I mean, as long as they're in your kingdom. But is it that good? I don't know. And it does not affect your other ability at all, and that's, I guess, worth mentioning a little bit. I don't know how good it is. I really don't. Then we have Maximum Tempo. Kill 5 enemy heroes while Crossfade's speed boost is active, and permanently increase the Amp It Up bonus of Crossfade to 60%. Now this obviously has some synergies with the Reverse Amp Ultimate, but essentially you increase the boost from 45% while Amp It Up is active to 60% while Amp It Up is active. So this is the boost. We're going to toggle off cooldowns. This is the boost normally, which is pretty high. Now keep in mind it's only for those 3 seconds. And this is the boost with the quest completed. 15% faster. Keep in mind this will stack with the wall run. So this will allow you to go, what? 180? 180! Look at that! That's fast! You can get away from some shit! Keep in mind, 15-second cooldown though. So it's not up all the time, whereas the other ability is up all the time. Then, if we go ahead and reset, we can take a look at the other ones. Wall ride's movement speed bonus gradually increases to 40% over 4 seconds while Lucio maintains this effect. I don't like this one at all. This is 2 map specific. On some maps, you'll be able to do this all the time. So I guess I like it on a map like Dragonshire if you're in the top lane or the bottom lane where there's just hedges everywhere and you can always do this. But essentially, if you take this talent, we can see that we're at 115 movement speed. Once we jump on the wall, we're at 135, and it just continues to climb as long as we maintain contact with the wall. Now, if you break off, you still have that bonus for a little bit, so you would be able to jump from wall to wall, and maybe that does make it a little bit better than I thought. But I don't really think it's situational, and I might also just not like it because it's so drastically different from anything else we have in the game. It seems like this is going to be playstyle defining. If you go down this route, you're going to have to just stick to these walls. And keep in mind, while you're attached to a wall, half of Lion's Pride, or whatever the area of the Lion King was called, is going to be cut off into a wall that no one's really receiving any bonus of. So you're cutting down your area of influence quite a bit by sticking to a wall like this. Just keep that in mind. For that reason, I don't think I'll like this talent, but you know, who knows? This talent tier is like so open to player specific style and how Lucio's actually gonna play in the game. Kind of hard to tell which one's gonna be the best here. If we go ahead and reset one more, then we have Slip. Passing through or near an enemy hero during wall ride effect increases its movement speed to 70% for 1 second. That's 70%. That's boosted with your movement speed increase. So that means that if we move this guy over here and then we try to wall run, we immediately go up to 185, and then we can increase this. It's really awkward in this fucking corner, but we can increase it all the way up to 215. Which essentially, you can't be body blocked. You already have that bonus with the wall run, as long as there's a wall nearby. Do you really need 215% movement speed? Do you really need to be the fastest object in the game on top of not being body blocked? I would argue that you don't. So my gut reaction is to say stay away from these, although Accelerando, I said that wrong, might be okay. And either stick to the tempo or we move together, because they just kind of seem more intuitive with this playstyle, and you don't have to change anything to make that work. I don't know though. I thought about this for like 10 minutes actually. I thought about this talent tier way more than any other talent tier, and I'm still undecided. So maybe in chat or maybe in the comments of this video after it goes live, you guys can like give me your opinions, because I don't know. I've never been this undecided about a talent tier. And the thing is, like, it's all just movement speed anyway. So it's not like it's going to have a massive impact on the game. It's not like it's a stacking talent tier where you have to land your convection ovens on Kael'thas, otherwise you're screwed, or get all of your auto attacks and kills and regen globes in on Varian Rin to be effective. It's just kind of, well, you move different. Good. There you go. But again, just off pure instinct, I think maximum tempo or the acceleration one might be the way to go. So we'll start with that. Then we have Subwoofer. Enemies within the first half of the sound wave's range are knocked back 50% farther. Is there an indicator for that? Let's see. So yeah, this range that you're never gonna do ever, if you rub your dick on someone, you can then knock them back significantly further. Yeah, it's an option. Off the wall, if Soundwave is cast while having wall ride speed bonus, the cooldown is reduced by 3 seconds. Now this one is actually a little bit more obtainable because you do hold on to that speed bonus for about 3 seconds. At least it seems like it. Maybe 2. So you could just tap a wall really quick and kind of force someone back, and it would reduce the cooldown a little bit more. Is that necessarily that good? Maybe. Keep in mind, this doesn't deal a ton of damage or anything. Or you could go for the one that I think is the best, which is Chase the Base. Hit 20 enemies, 20 enemy heroes specifically with this, and then the range of this ability is going to be increased. And seeing how this is your main like form of crowd control, it's pretty weak in the first place, you might as well make it bigger. So we have this, as our default range. If we pick up the quest, it's still this. If we complete the quest, so here, let's make it so we all agree that's right on the edge of the dummy. I'm pretty sure we all agree right on the edge of the dummy. If we complete the quest, it now goes the other side. So essentially a full hitbox is what it gets increased. And this is, also mention that the width gets increased as well. So again, it's going to be pretty common, I think, for Lucio to get behind an enemy team and kind of push them around, and this just means you're going to be able to move more of a team at the same time. So, yeah. And doing it 20 times isn't going to be that hard. It's only a 7-second cooldown, and you can hit multiple heroes with it, of course. So that should be fairly easy to complete, actually. That should be fairly easy. Then at level 7, we have Party Mix. Play Lucio's crossfade tracks to nearby allies for a total of 8 minutes. We've never had a talent quite like this. You have to sustain a song on someone for 8 whole minutes, and it can be either of the songs, right? So you pick up the talent, and then down here, which one is it? This one here, Party Mix. It just starts ticking. It just starts going, and it will complete 8 minutes from now. Now, if you heal 2 allies, if you have 2 people in your kingdom at any given time, then you will complete the quest at double speed. If you have 3 people, triple the speed. So it will not take... it seems like a long commitment. Now, granted, as a support, this is all you're going to be fucking doing anyway, right? You're going to have people in your area, but it's worth mentioning that you're not going to get any immediate value from this particular talent, and it's definitely going to be down the road. But what it's going to do is increase crossfade's range by 25%. And I actually wanted to test if your heroic ability is also bound to that range as well, because depending on the one that you pick up, it might actually be really, really good. So let's go ahead and we'll complete that. We'll go to level 10, and then let's go for reverse amp because it's a good visual indicator, and it does not get its range increased. So maybe that's worth it to you, maybe it's not. Let's take a look at the other talents first. We have loudspeakers. If at least 2 allied heroes are nearby when Amp It Up is cast, crossfade's radius is increased by 50% for the duration. Can't test that at all, because there's no way for us to get to... yes, there is! There's totally a way for us to get 2 allies, and his name is Rexar. I didn't think about that when I was looking at his talents originally. But so if we amp it up, look at that radius increase! Now again, that's only for the duration of the spell, but you can get a lot of healing done with that. Is that necessarily that good on a 15-second cooldown? I would argue probably... I don't know. How often do you actually see teams coordinated enough to actually use the movement speed increase in a meaningful way? You're probably going to have a straggler in there, and if you get that massive movement speed increase, you're probably going to leave some of them behind. So maybe that is worth. Maybe that is worth. I don't know. Then we have Boombox. This is the one that I actually liked the most. I thought this one was really cool. Especially with some of the healing talents that you can get later on in here. Boombox is really neat. Now, Boombox essentially is only a reskinned healing totem. But first of all, first things first, let's talk about Boombox. It looks real cute. I mean, I feel like that's really important, you know, looking really cute. Pretty good. I like that. Now you can only have 1 down at a time. And the cooldown is going to be 20 seconds. Very short cooldown, in fact. I thought the cooldown was a little bit longer. Look at that. This is with cooldowns turned off, of course. But 20-second cooldown, you can throw that down. And what it does is it's going to copy the song that you have active. So you can see we have 2 movement circles on the ground, or we can have 2 healing circles on the ground now. Our kingdom is now expanded, and I think that's my favorite one. I really like that one. I really like that one. So you place a boombox that Lucio plays his active crossfade track for 20 seconds. Its volume adjusts with Amp It Up, so you can not only play the song, but you can also amp up the song from the boombox. Now, the caveat here is that the boombox does not stack with your passive healing. As you can see, we're doing 200. No, that's not right. We're doing 41 heals per second on this target dummy, according to the tooltip as well. It is spot on. If we drop the boombox, we're still sitting at 41 healing per second. Now we can amp this up, and obviously it's going to increase. But the boombox does not stack with our healing, so you're only going to get benefit from it if you're dropping it down for maybe an ally on your back line and then moving up to reinforce your front line. And this is also a creative tool to getting everyone in the party as well. We talked about how your team's probably not going to be clumped up too tightly. I mean, we all play Heroes of the Storm. We know how it goes. So you can drop this on the back line and then get everyone a movement speed increase. The movement speed increase will be here, and you can amp it up as you run into the enemy team. So this is my favorite one for the tier. I really like this one. Plus, like, seriously, it's so cute. It's so cute. Does Boombox work with the ult? No, it is only the effects of your W and your E that the Boombox works with. But it will change with you. Like, I like it. I like it. Now, keep in mind, this only has, I'm assuming this has a health pool. Like I said, it's just kind of a new updated healing totem, so they could kill this. And let's be honest, this is a lot more noticeable than a healing totem as well. Not only is it cute, not only is it bouncing around and bringing attentions to itself with actual movement, but it has a radius around it that is multicolored. People are going to notice this, and they might just kill this right away. And if that happens, you know, that sucks. But doubling the size of your lion hood, your lion kingdom, I think is going to be pretty good. But time will tell. I like that one, but maybe... I don't know. That's my favorite in the tier by a large margin, actually. Then I think either ult is fine. It kind of depends on your team composition. If you want to go for a Bloodlust comp without Rhaegar, keep in mind you're not going to be getting as much healing with this, but you can easily bring your whole team in with a movement speed increase. You can bring them in real nice, slow down everyone on the enemy team. You don't even need Thrall for the Earthquake anymore. You just bring your team in and slow everyone down with your passive skills. Or if you have some kind of AoE comp, you can add a little bit of damage to that by switching it over to the healing. Let's go ahead and toggle it, switching it over to the healing phase, and then just doing some passive damage. It's not a ton of damage, don't get too excited, but keep in mind you can move around while that damage is being dealt as well, and it's only a 50-second cooldown. So maybe that's your cup of tea, maybe Sound Barrier is your cup of tea. I think Sound Barrier is going to be better. I think most players are going to get more utility out of Sound Barrier because at the end of the day, surviving through a team fight is usually more important than killing everyone on the enemy team if you really get down to the nitty-gritty of it. At least that's my opinion. That's my opinion. Maybe this is good. This is probably good. That's probably better than the Boombox. I just really like the Boombox. It's so cute. It's so adorable. So let's assume we like this quest. We've done all quest talents so far. That's pretty scary. Then we can complete those. This is your new radius. Again, this is not affected. This does not affect the size of your ultimate ability. So it does become a little bit harder to gauge where your ult lands, especially with Sound Barrier. That's a bit, it's a bit more crucial that you have the range down beforehand. But that's easy to learn. I mean, that's whatever. It's fine. What is the cooldown on Amp It Up? That is 15 seconds. So at level 13, we have beat mixing. After switching crossfade tracks, if the next song plays for at least 1.5 seconds, Lucio gains a 180-point shield. That is going to be a... let's go for that quest. Go for that. That is going to be a 219-point shield at level 20. Initially, I thought this would be okay. And then I actually don't know. So, essentially what this does is you gain a shield, right? You switch your stance, you gain a tiny shield. You switch your stance, you gain a tiny shield. Every 1.5 seconds, you're gaining a mitigated auto attack from, like, Vala. You know, I don't really know if that's worth. It seemed more appealing before I actually thought about it that way. We're at level 20. Like a fucking Tychus could rip right through this without you even noticing. I don't really think that one's gonna be that good. If we go ahead and reset these really fast. Then we have Can't Stop, Won't Stop. While wall ride movement speed bonus is active, Lucio is immune to slows and root effects. So kind of like how the whirlwind bonus of Sonya works. If you are on a wall or have the bonus, keep in mind, you keep the bonus for a little bit. You're going to be immune to 2 types of crowd control. Okay, I could see that being good versus specific comps. Then we have Hardstyle, gain 25 armor while wall ride's movement speed bonus is active, reducing damage taken by 25%. It's flat damage mitigation. That is both spells and physical attacks. That is not armor that's one-sided. And again, that's going to have more value on some maps than others, based on where you're fighting, based on positioning. But again, it shouldn't be that hard to keep this buff up and keep that armor up as well, as long as you just kind of dip into the wall and then go back into fighting. So maybe that'll be worth it. Or you can have back in the mix, heal for 570 upon entering a stun, silence, or time stop effect. This is the first reactive thing we have for a stasis, if I'm understanding this properly. It's the first thing that actually happens after a stasis. So boom, your team gets hit with a void prison. Shit, what are you gonna do? Well, you heal for 570 as you enter that. Stun, the most common form of crowd control in the game. Silence is in every game right now as well, because Malfurion is so good and Sylvanas is so good. You're always gonna be getting hit with some kind of a silence. And now we have an answer for a time stop as well. So this is just gonna be passive healing that you get for being fucking hit with stuff. There's no way to test that here. I don't know if your team also gets healing. It just says heal 570. I'm assuming it's personal. But that seems good. So I would say between these two, that you're better off going for the armor on wall ride and just try to maintain this in the middle of a fight. Keep in mind, you are cutting down your healing limitation. So it's going to be important to either have party mix up or have a boombox on the ground as well. But that's decent damage mitigation. Or you just get fucking healed. Now we could like hit the boss and let him stun us to see the healing. Here we go. Yeah, we got healed for 570. We still took the base damage, but essentially nullified some of that damage. Again, I don't know if that is just personal healing or if that's going to be spread around, but that seems pretty good. I would go for either one of those. Either one of those. Now, it is important to mention that this can only happen once every 10 seconds. That is a pretty long internal cooldown. So maybe the armor would be a little bit better, because theoretically, if you got used to the playstyle and you were on the proper part of a map or something, you'd keep that up all the time. We can just solo boss, can't we? Oh, fuck me. Lucio could just solo this boss, can't he? I'm actually a little upset. Dude, you don't even have to try. You don't have to try. You could just kill it. What the fuck? Oh, God. What other boss would be set up like this with this big of an area and walls around it? The Braxis holdout boss, which is already easy to solo. Or is that Warhead Junction? That's what I meant. The Braxis holdout boss probably hit you pretty hard. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. I'm just gonna do this now. Yeah, guys, I'm gonna play Lucio. Don't worry, at the 25-minute mark, I'm gonna take down this boss like you wouldn't believe. It's gonna take me 5 minutes to kill this motherfucker, but don't you worry, he's going down. Mike Jones, thank you for sponsoring the channel. Dude, if I was this boss, I'd be pissed off right now. Dude, this is like shit you break your controller over, you know what I'm saying? Guy's wall hacking! This guy's lag switching. Do you see him run on the wall there? It's bullshit! Is this ever actually gonna happen in a game? Probably. It'll end up on with the what the fuck fails. What the fuck moments. Is this a viable way to kill a boss? No, not really, but honestly, neither is Rexar spending a minute and a half killing this thing either, so maybe this might actually happen in a fucking game. Hey guys, where'd Lucio go? Their support split off. We can't quite find him. It's like Twin Blades Varian. You just see him disappear for 3 fucking minutes at a time. It's because he's solo and boss for some reason. I'm actually really upset about it. I was good stunned. Stun doesn't even matter. Oh god. Oh man. I'm kind of glad this is in the game though. There's a part of me that is really happy about this actually. There's a part of me that's actually really happy about that. Fuck. Alright, then at level 16, there is one talent to rule them all here as far as I am. Never mind, I take that back, actually. This might be a decent talent here. The first one that came to mind was going to be the Heliotropics. This is going to blind enemies for 2.5 seconds. This is not a blind based on auto attacks. This is a blind that is 1.5 seconds lower than Artanis's fucking heroic ability. The kind of wave that comes down from space that makes everyone feel foggy for a minute. That is 4 seconds. This is 2.5 seconds, and this is only on a 7 fucking second cooldown. And you can also increase the radius of this by completing your quest, which we'll go ahead and do. So everything in this range is going to be blinded for 2.5 seconds. You want to talk about stopping auto attack damage output? This is a great way to do it. They're gonna have 5 seconds that they can actually attack you here, and in that time, you can simply amp up your healing. You can simply bro shield. You have so many tools in your arsenal to mitigate damage here as well, and just seems so strong. Just seems so good versus Vala's, Tychus's. The higher the attack speed, probably the better. Artanis cuts down on his mitigation. Sonya, it stops her from healing. You know, things like that. Obviously required against certain heroes. Doesn't do you any good against Li Ming or something like that. But really fucking strong. And I want to stress how good that is as well. Then we have... I want to pick the boom. I'm going to pick the boombox this time. I'm just going to sit it down, and it can accompany me as I'm talking about our talents here. Then we have, dude, come on. I can't. It has an accent mark. Rejuvenation. This thing. While Amp It Up is active, Crossfade Healing Boost heals for an additional 3% of your target's maximum health for each second. Now, this works with the boombox. So maybe this is a reason to pick up the boombox. If you really like this talent right here, if you have a bunch of warriors on your team and you want to keep them alive, we can just give this to Rexar and then amp it up, and he's getting so much healing. He's getting amazing amounts of heals there. If you want to see something hilarious, obviously the higher the health pull, the more effective that's going to be. This isn't going to do you much good with a team full of assassins, but it's really funny. It's really funny with this dummy here. Here, let's actually move the boombox. I want this number to go away, and I'm just gonna walk right up and do it. So if you heal this dummy, again, it's based off of maximum health. It looks like the most OP shit in the whole world. Yeah, it just did, 2.6 thousand healing per second there doing that amp it up. Pfft, no big deal. But there's a time and a place for that where I think it could be really good. Then we have Bring It Together. If at least 2 allied heroes are nearby when Amp It Up is cast, Crossfade healing bonus is increased by 40% for its duration. That seems pretty good too. Again, this would be used more versus teams that didn't have someone you would want to blind. So again, against like maybe a mage heavy team or just a low damage team in general, you would pick up something like that maybe. We'll go for party mix again. So you just need to make sure you have 2 members of your team with you, which isn't that hard to do unless your Rexar dies. But when you do the healing boost, it's just going to be doubled. There's not a good way to represent that here. Because we just won't die, I guess. That was using the cooldown multiple times, but you got to get the point. It makes your heal better, if you're into that. Then we have, last but not least, oh, I picked the wrong one. Last but not least, we have Amp It Up's mana cost is reduced to 80. It has a 100 mana cost. And dealing basic attack damage to enemies also reduces the cooldown of Amp It Up by 0.35. Now, this is the one I like other than the Heliotropics, because keep in mind, we'll go ahead and make our cooldowns real. Is it versus heroes? Yes, enemy heroes. So we'll use this target dummy. 15-second cooldown by default. So if we go ahead and amp it up here, 15-second cooldown. Keep in mind that you do attack at a pretty decent speed, and you could easily pull this off in the middle of a team fight. And then you can amp it up again and just keep everyone else alive around you. Enemies will not be able to run away from you because you can simply move faster than them. Enemies will not be able to outdamage you during this phase, most likely because you have Bro Shield. Even if you go with this heroic ability, they can't run away from you, and you can keep the healing up and just deal damage to them instead. So really good way of reducing that mana cost. Allowing you to heal a lot more in team fights. But again, not something I would take over the blind, because the blind is just so crazy good. Definitely a runner-up talent for me there. The weakest one to me, definitely, I think it's the Bring It Together. I don't know. That's pretty good too. I don't know. I'd probably still gonna go for the blind when the situation is applicable for it. And then at level 20, we have... this is for the reverse amp heroic ability. This is non-stop remix. While reverse amp is affecting at least 2 enemy heroes, its duration lasts indefinitely. It lasts indefinitely. Now that sounds pretty cool until you realize that the only way that's going to be a thing that you could do is if other crowd control is actually being used, and if you have the slow in place. Because the second you turn off that movement speed decrease, let's go ahead and get rid of our Rexar. We don't need him right now. The second you turn off that movement speed decrease, people are going to move out of it way too easy. Also, it's kind of the same thing with Polybomb. Polybomb technically can go on indefinitely. But of course, it probably never will. Again, there will definitely be some what the fuck moments where you see someone just like a whole team getting obliterated by this. But the odds of that actually happening, probably not great. Again, with a mosh pit or something, though, like if you jump in with a mosh pit, if someone else on your team has an earthquake, that is going to set you up to use the healing version of this and then deal a lot of damage. And in situations like this, I guess we deal unlimited damage. So, I mean, we might actually... Oh, we can amp it up. That's right. So, I mean, it could happen. It's just very specific scenarios that it can happen. You know what I mean? Also, does the cooldown tick away while we... Oh, while this is active, the cooldown is also being lowered as well. Rexar, why are you tanking the tower, though? Can we talk about that? Why are you just tanking the... What are you doing? Untouchable. But I'm saying, most players in this scenario, they just separate. This is not a very wide area. You could easily move out of this. And while this may look a little impressive, this isn't really a feasible way. Like, you're not going to do that very often in games. People are just going to move out of it, right? Then we also have... let's see. God, this is getting tedious. I do this all the time, but for some reason, it's just feeling a little tedious. We have Encore! Just picking all my talents over and over. That's what I was talking about. Swapping crossfade tracks while Amp It Up is active will set Amp It Up back to its maximum duration. This can only happen once per cast. What does that mean? Well, effectively, if you want to move your team into position with the movement speed increase, you get into position and then you switch the song, Amp It Up plays again, and you cannot swap it again. So it's just a way of getting 2 doses of that Amp It Up, which means you can get both buffs to their full duration, or if you wanted to cancel the effect early, if you wanted to just use the heal, I kind of fucked it up there. You would want to start with the heal. Go ahead and toggle cooldowns. So you'd want to start with the heal, you do the amp it up thing, and then you swap to the speed and back to the heal, and you can do a shit ton of healing in a very small amount of time. It's really impressive, actually. Probably going to be the go-to talent here. Keep in mind this happens every 15 seconds, and you can talent to lower this cooldown as well with up the frequency if you don't need to blind. So essentially, you could just have amp healing up all the time, and it seems really, really strong. It seems really strong. In fact, I'll show you what that looks like, actually. Let's go ahead and go with a talent build that would be conducive to that. So we would do something like this. We would do shield barrier. I guess that doesn't matter. And then up the frequency. So we are going to start in healing phase. You can see we're healing our little buddy here. We're going to amp it up. We're going to keep auto attacking. We're going to swap the song and then go back to healing. And by the time it's done, we already have it back off cooldown, and we can just continue to keep these going and heal for a ton. Keep in mind, it's going to be healing everyone around you inside of your kingdom, and you still have the fucking bro shield to drop on top of that. So that is a massive, massive amount of healing. Really strong. Really, 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 really strong. Then at level 20, we also have... let's see. Party Bix. Synesthesia auditivia. Woo! Nailed it! Alright, the initial cast of Amp It Up removes all stun, slows, root effects from allies, and also removes slows and root effects from Lucio. So it's a cleanse on everything in your radius. If you have a higher level, if we go ahead and complete our quest, if you have a higher radius, you are going to cleanse everything in this area. It is objectively better than Charism's cleanse in every way. So the only downside is you have to wait until level 20. So that kind of sucks. Again, incredibly strong. Both of these, incredibly strong. And the upgrade, this one, I'm not convinced. The upgrade to the Bro Shield is Bossa Nova. Reduces sound barrier's cooldown duration, reduces the cooldown of sound barrier to 30 seconds, but the shield now delays over 4 seconds. So you get lower shield times, but a shorter cooldown on the shield. This is going to be up every single team fight. I don't see a reason to reduce the cooldown of this. I would go with one of these. Encore if you're going for CDR here at level 16. If not, go for the cleanse. And that is all it comes down to. These are the two best ones. This is somewhat the build I would recommend. Probably the cleanse in most situations, let's be honest. Most team fights are won by CC these days with Apocalypse running rampant and Earthquake being dropped on people and, you know, things like that. So, but the healing is so tempting. The Encore seems so good. It just seems so good. Team, I don't know. All right, let's start from scratch. This is going to be the build that I'm testing tomorrow on the Squadron channel. If you want to stop by, you want to watch some gameplay tomorrow, we will be playing Lucio, probably in viewer games because the queues on these servers are terrible. So if you want to play with me, want to play with Squadron guys, and want to watch some Lucio stuff too to tomorrow at probably 3:30. I don't know when. There's a public schedule somewhere. I'll post it in the video description too after this video. Or Quest. Is Quest here? Quest is on top of those links. He does that. So the build I would go for, you want to go for the Quest talent at level 1, maximum tempo. You want to go for the Quest talent at level 4, chase the bass. Party mix or boombox, both I think are okay. Keep in mind, boombox can be killed, and you're not going to get any immediate value out of this. But in the grand scheme of things, party mix is probably better. I just really like the boombox. I just really like it. I really like it, team. We are going to go for sound barrier, and then if we're actually talking about adjusting your play style to really fit Lucio, then you're probably going to want to go for the damage reduction here. It's just going to require you to stick to walls all the time. If the enemy team pushes in against you, you have to hit a wall. If you don't hit a wall, then you're not going to be benefiting from this. If you want a more passive way to play Lucio, if you want to treat Lucio like he's just a different Brightwing, then back in the mix is going to be the way to go. Then I've been very clear about this. If you have 2 or more damage dealers on the enemy team, you need to stop. Go for the blind. It is amazing. If not, set yourself up for level 20. Go for up the frequency. And then also decide whether or not you want to do just a massive amount of healing, or if you want to get your team out of things like Apocalypse. Now, keep in mind, Apocalypse is very telegraphed. So as you see Apocalypse coming down, you don't really have to cleanse it if you have the cooldown. You could simply bro shield. As Apocalypse is forming under your feet, that's a massive amount of HP that you're going to be giving your team right there. Complete quest is done. Cooldown reduction is done. There we go. So you bro shield right as the shit hits the ground. You amp up your healing. You make sure you switch this song right at the very end, and then switch it back to healing, and basically no one around you took any damage at all. Right? It's really good. It's really good. But that concludes my thoughts for Lucio. This is what I'm gonna... You're doing it, Rexar. You're nailing it. What the fuck is happening? What are you doing? Are you kidding me with this? Seriously? Blizzard? Don't forget to like the video if you like the damn video, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Again, I'll put all the links for Squadron shit tomorrow in the video description right after this stream's done. So, I mean, you could just refresh in a few minutes and it'll be there. Hope you guys enjoyed. He looks pretty fucking good. He looks pretty fucking good. And I will see you all tomorrow. I have a Sylvanas video in the pipe ready to go. We'll work on some Lucio stuff before I leave as well. I am going out of town on Thursday, so I am going to be gone for the weekend. But we'll try to get some content out before then. Okay, bye, everybody. Thank you. Bye.